Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Michael Snyder is our resident film critic. He joins us via Skype. Chappie.
Chappie is the latest film from Neil Blomkamp, who did District 9, a pretty interesting parable about racism where aliens land on Earth and end up in Johannesburg in ghettos. He followed that with Elysium, another dystopian futurist thing with the typical aspirational approach to showing the social order upset by technology and society's prejudices. And now he's come through with Chappie, which is visually stunning and kind of crazy about AI and a police force a la RoboCop, where robots are sent in to do the dirty work, again set in Johannesburg, and centering on Yolandi and Ninja of the South African rap group The Antwoord, and they get a large share of the screen time here with the fantastical robot, which is physically embodied using CGI technology by the actor Sharlto Copley, who was also in District 9. It's kind of Pinocchio. You know what? It's kind of Robo-Nocchio, as this broken robot that they've nicknamed Chappie develops a kind of a soul and gets in the middle of your robotics firm and your cops and gangsters and criminals. It's sort of a mess. It's like a mega-length The Antwoord video, hard to decipher with a lot of dialogue, but so what? Visually, so much fun. I loved watching it. It's like a beautiful mess.
Unfinished Business.
Unfinished Business is the latest crazy comedy attempt by Vince Vaughn, and in this case, he's in with people way over his head in terms of acting skill. Well, at least one person, Tom Wilkinson, the great British actor, and this guy, played by Vaughn, is a salesman who decides to go against the company that lets him go when he's a bit too much of a loose cannon, and then he's in competition with that company, and it's kind of a little disturbing insofar as, you kind of want more laughs here, and it's globe-trotting and business meetings and people loosening up, including a mentally challenged assistant that he has, played by Dave Franco, James Franco's brother. It's not.
Is there a tasteless scene with an Iraqi vet in first class and he's missing an arm?
That doesn't strike me as something that actually happened in the film. But
okay, maybe another Vince Vaughn movie. Okay, Run All Night.
Run All Night is the latest film to star Liam Neeson as a hard man, a tough guy. And in this case, he's quite good in these roles. He plays a mob assassin who has to deal with the fact that he's lost the love and affection of his son. He has basically no family or friends other than the mob boss he came up with. The son is played by Joel Kinnaman from The Killing and RoboCop, the remake, and the mob boss is Ed Harris. We're talking about quality in terms of the cast, and it actually works pretty well as one son of these two longtime mob buddies is killed kind of after going off the rails, and then revenge becomes the issue. It's pretty typical stuff on some level. It's sort of a bargain matinee. Joan Colette-Serra was the director of it, and, nice and tight. This is the guy who directed Unknown, as a matter of fact. Okay. And in this case, I would say I give it a pass as an entertainment. Run All Night action, more of the Liam Neeson tough guy stuff.
It Follows.
It Follows is actually one of the cleverest and most, creepy, low-budget horror films I've seen in a very long time. Basically, it's about a teenager who finds herself in a chain of horror. A demon of some sort, a ghost, a killing creature, is now showing up in her life wherever she goes. And it follows in a straight line, no matter how far she drives, even days later. There it is. And it comes in different forms and different shapes, which you always know it's the creature that's coming after her. And she's got to figure out a way out of it, whether to somehow stop the creature or to pass it on to someone else. It is very well done, very smart, and scary.
Okay, Cinderella.
Cinderella is boilerplate Disney in an attempt to repurpose what is essentially something in the public domain anyway, the story of Cinderella from the French fairy tale from so long ago. Disney has taken a lot of the elements of its animated version of Cinderella and given it a live-action sheen. Pretty good cast, kind of amusing that two regulars from Downton Abbey, one playing Cousin Rose, the elegant and ripe young woman who has joined the family at Downton. She's Lily James in that show, and the girl who plays Daisy who is Sophie McShera, Daisy being a kind of a kitchen maid. The two of them switch places here as Daisy plays one of the two wicked stepsisters, and Lily James is the poor Cinderella reduced to being a maid to her wicked stepmom, played to a fare thee well by Kate Blanchett. And, of course, she eventually becomes Cinderella because fairy godmother, Helena Bonham Carter, has granted her all these wishes. Look, it's hard to argue with this stuff. It's almost kind of critic-proof. It's done with a lot of energy and a lot of color and vibrance. And, people kind of sell the story. Richard Madden is the young prince, and you know him as Robb Stark from Game of Thrones. They didn't mess around here with this cast either, but I was left pretty chilly by it. I've been there. I've seen it. That cartoon version is the quintessence of all Cinderellas. This one was like, okay, fine. People are loving it, but I'm not so crazy.
The Gunman.
The Gunman is a new Sean Penn action movie with a political end to it. He plays a black ops guy in Africa trying to undermine the government of a country there. And when he does that, he's sort of set up by his colleague who wants to get the gunman's lover on his side. So it's sort of a bit of a love triangle and betrayal and a revenge situation. And Sean Penn comes back years later and reconnects with this guy and finds out that this has all been a sham and an attempt to take the woman away from him. You got Sean Penn, Javier Bardem, Idris Elba, Ray Winstone. It hops from London to the African continent and ends up at one point, I don't know, in a morass. I wish it was better. I wish it was better.
Insurgent.
Insurgent is yet another one of these young adult movies where the characters are straight out of Harry Potter, The Hunger Games, and thrown into a situation where the future is crushing everyone's souls. It's another dystopian sci-fi series. In this case, Shailene Woodley plays the main character, Triss, who has the magical capabilities of every one of the various cults and elites that run this place. And, she's looking for allies, and she's trying to defeat the overbearing totalitarian government led here by Kate Winslet, who is attempting to unlock some secrets from the past. And, she's, look, you got Shailene Woodley, Octavia Spencer, Miles Teller, Naomi Watts. They're throwing actors at these things, and it's a great payday, and people go see them, particularly those who love the books, but they kind of leave me cold. This is a little Hunger Games. It's a little The Maze Runner. It's all of these things jumbled together, and they're starting to blend in my mind to the point where nothing is distinct. Yeah.
And Danny Collins.
Danny Collins is a new movie starring Al Pacino as a former 70s rocker who finds out years after he's sold out, essentially. He started out kind of very Dylan-esque, and he ends up being Neil Diamond, with all due respect to Neil Diamond. Anyway, Pacino does a fantastic job in this movie as Danny Collins, who is a hard-partying guy who never was able to fully connect or acknowledge with the child he had out of wedlock. That boy's grown up and is a husband and father now, and he tries to reconnect with that, that lost family member, with the kid he never was a dad to. And at the time he was, pursuing his career, he finds out that John Lennon sent him a letter that never got to him. And it was one of those be true to yourself letters. Hey, give me a call. So with all these regrets, he reconnects with his son, or tries to. Again, the acting covers a lot of bases here. Annette Bening plays a sort of snarky, sweet hotel manager in the New Jersey hotel where he kind of holes up because his son lives nearby. Bobby Cannavale is the son. Jennifer Garner's the daughter-in-law. Hard to complain with those kind of performances, and it's kind of sweet. It's not a great film. Something you could probably watch on video when it gets into the streaming world, but not a great report today. But we've got more to come.
Great. Michael Snyder, thank you.
You're welcome.